Welcome to All Home Care Matters, the show where we discuss all things home care, with discussions on important age-related matters and topics. Brought to you by Enriched Life Home Care Services, the #1 rated home care provider in Michigan by Top Rated Local.
Hello, and welcome back to All Home Care Matters. If this is your first time visiting us here at the show, we want to say thank you for taking time out to be with us today. We appreciate how valuable everyone's time is, and that's why we try and make each episode here at All Home Care Matters something that will hopefully matter to you. Today, I am honored to welcome Eric Kolb. Eric is the co-founder of Songs and Smiles. Welcome, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to see you, Lance. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure, Eric. Our pleasure. I want to start with, what does it mean when I say you're the co-founder of Songs and Smiles?
Yes, it's my wife and I are the co-founders, and she's the president of our board now, and I'm the one who does the day-to-day operations, and I'm the one who gets on camera. Sheryl likes to stay behind the scenes more, but she's involved with the vision and the planning. We're co-founders because it started directly related to caregiving with her mother, my mother-in-law, Trish. So that's why we're both very involved, and it's a joint effort. Even though I'm the one doing the day-to-day, now it's very much a joint effort from the beginning.
Yeah, it's kind of is it the old saying behind every great man is a better woman? Is that kind of what
Yes.
yeah, I can relate. I can relate. But you got into this because of your mother-in-law. Walk us through because oftentimes when somebody becomes a family caregiver, they never planned for it. They never prepared for it. It just happened. Was that kind of the same with your situation, or?
Oh, definitely. You never see it coming. Sheryl's mother, Trish, wonderful woman, grade school teacher for many years. She developed memory issues in her 60s.
Wow.
So a little early, and lived with Alzheimer's for more than 10 years. And Sheryl's father had passed away at a young age too. So Sheryl's mom had moved down, lived with us for a while, then was out on her own, but was always nearby. So we were definitely the primary caregivers in her situation. We'd seen dementia in our family before, unfortunately, but never that close up. I remember when I was a teenager, my great-grandmother visiting her in a care home, and her living with dementia, and later my grandfather. Then Sheryl's grandmother, Trish's mom, and unfortunately now Trish's sister. They've all experienced dementia due to Alzheimer's. And so Sheryl's mom, though, we went through the caregiving journey with her, like I said, for more than 10 years, from figuring out how to get the help she needed in her home to eventually moving. We moved her actually into an independent living facility, downsized, then moved her to an assisted living facility, and then finally moved her to memory care community. And we're very involved with all those moves and everything associated with that through the entire journey.
Yeah. What was it about that journey that you really took away from, that you didn't expect maybe going into it? I hear some people say, I was always busy. I just made sure mom or dad or mother-in-law, father-in-law were taken care of. But something kind of changes a person when they go on that caregiving journey with a family member that they may not had known about themselves, or that they had even expected. Would anything like that apply to your story?
Oh, we learned so many things during our journey. That's why we're giving back now too, because we know we learned some things through research and talking to people who'd been through it, and some things we just learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And one of the main things that we learned that we were surprised at through the journey, especially caring for someone living with dementia, uh, is that you need to grieve during the process. It's it was a surprise to us. We both at one time had this overwhelming just feeling gnawing at us. Something was not right. Okay, and but we couldn't put our finger on it. Sheryl actually, she's done a lot of reading about Alzheimer's and dementia care. We came upon Pauline Boss's book about ambiguous loss. And Sheryl was about 2 pages into that book, and she said, "This is it. This is what I'm feeling." And it's she talks about the complicated grief of of when you're losing someone, but they're still there. It's similar to uh, when you have. It's very similar to when a soldier goes missing and the family doesn't know how to react, or whether to grieve or not. When you're losing someone to dementia and the loss is very real, uh, but people don't know what to do about it. When you actually lose someone, when someone dies, we all know what to do. We have traditions, we have a service, people send cards, people bring meals. When you're losing someone to dementia, there's none of that, and yet the loss is very real. And we learned that it's very real not only for the primary caregivers, but for everyone involved, for the entire family. That's something else really important we learned, is that even though there's typically a primary caregiver, the person closest to them who's involved more on a daily basis, it affects everyone who loves that person. The people who see them maybe once a year, they come visit, but every time they see them, the loss is very, very real. And so we realized, yeah, that we needed to grieve and that we needed to help the rest of our family and his friends learn to grieve during the journey.
Yeah.
And at the
And
same time, the other big thing we learned is that you can have joy during that journey.
yes. Yeah. And memories that you may not otherwise have been able to make or have. Yeah, I tell
Right.
families all the time, and like in our support groups that we facilitated, anticipatory grief is almost worse than actual grief because your emotions are up and down, and that takes a tremendous toll on people's mental health well-being, even their physical well-being. And I just say anticipatory grief for a lot of people is often the worst part about the caregiving journey because they don't know. You can go in today and mom or dad or whoever your loved one may be may seem healthy and full of joy and smiles and singing a song, and you're like, oh, maybe dad's rebounding, maybe it's not so bad. You can go back the next day and they may not talk, they may not move, and that up and down roller coaster of that anticipatory grief is just it is really, really difficult. you know
It's a roller coaster, and there are different points of grief, and everyone's different. For Trish, I mentioned that she was a grade school teacher. So she taught children how to read and write and spell. And so when it was a loss for us when we realized that Trish could no longer spell and eventually could no longer write.
yeah,
And uh, that was a loss. Of course, if someone forgets someone's name or doesn't recognize someone, that's a point of real loss. We need to recognize those, commemorate those, and
yeah,
embrace those at the same time.
absolutely. I want to talk though, because of that journey that you and your wife went on. Out of that journey came something wonderful, and let's talk about that.
It really, it really has. Um, we feel we can look back now and see how God has prepared us. God puts things in our lives, sometimes teaches us through our pain. We lost Trish in 2019, and we realized at the time, Sheryl and I, that we realized first that we had learned a lot of things that we wanted to share. We also realized that we were still young enough and that we still had enough energy to help other people. We realized that the journey is so hard that many caregivers, by the time they're through the journey, they're so exhausted. They don't have the energy to help other people. And for some people, there was so much pain that they don't want to have anything to do with it
Yeah.
ever again. They just, want to move on, and that's totally understandable. We realized our situation was a little different, and we Sheryl had the vision for what Songs and Smiles could be, and it totally resonated with me when she described to me what she was thinking. I said, that's I feel that's exactly what I was thinking. I just couldn't express it like she can. She's often the visionary, the leader, the first one thinking about things like that. So we decided that we could help other caregivers, and not just the primary caregivers, but the entire family. Of course, we focus on the primary caregiver. We think a lot about the sandwich generation caregiver, uh, the often woman who is helping aging parents, but at the same time helping children, maybe grown children, but uh, sandwiched between those generations, caring for both sides. But so we focus on that sandwich generation caregiver, but we recognize that everyone involved is part of the journey. So we're trying to keep everyone connected. That's what we decided when we developed our whole vision, our mission statement for Songs and Smiles. Our mission is keeping families connected during the Alzheimer's journey.
Yeah.
Because frankly, the real narrative is Alzheimer's splits up families in general. Too many times, the caregiving journey is just so tough that sometimes the reason there's a primary caregiver is because everyone else disappears and they don't want to help. Sometimes it's oh, oh, you're close. That's wonderful. We see that too many times. It's all put on, and so that's a lot of pressure put on one person. Or other times, siblings maybe disagree about the level of care or the need for care, or disagree about how much money to spend on the care. And so Alzheimer's can really destroy connections among the family. And so we were determined from the beginning to do things to help families stay together so that at the end of the journey, they could look back with good memories uh, and celebrate and know that their family was still together and still loved each other.
Absolutely. Well, I want to talk about music because that's a big component of Songs and Smiles, and we'll get to the magazine here shortly. But you were quoted as saying, "Every time I sing at a memory care home, I witness the power of music. Moods change, eyes light up, we smile, we laugh, and we connect with memories and we connect with each other." How does music help, Eric?
Every time too. We started with music. Uh, I have a music background myself, but we realized that music is just a powerful connector. That's something I learned very much hands-on caring for Trish too. I learned that when I would take her to a doctor's appointment, say, and we'd have a half hour ride in the car, and that that trip went better if I had music, if I had her favorite songs playing in the car as we went, or just visiting with her. Sometimes we would just spend a lot of time singing together. So, so music is magical. It's something, it is connected with our memory. There's something deeply ingrained about it. So it's proven fact that it's therapeutic in so many different ways. It can help relieve stress. It can change moods. It helps us sleep better. You know, it's just good for all of us. Uh, but it's especially important and valuable with dementia care because of the connections that it can make. And the first of all, connections with beautiful memories.
Right.
So I did a Memorial Day show recently. I do Veterans Day shows, and it's so incredible. I've seen someone who served, you know, former Marine, that when we sing the U.S. Marines hymn from the halls of Montezuma, that just to see them light up. I've seen people who stand up,
Right.
who you didn't even think could stand up. And maybe they wanted to stand up so badly that a caregiver or two had to come and help them stand up. But that music immediately connects them with joyful emotion and memory and pride. Sometimes it's a memory of. I hear this often from people. They say, "I remember singing those songs with my mother."
Yeah.
And some of the songs, it's true. I sing some songs that are more than 100 years old because I always say good song lasts forever. And some songs are just passed down through generations.
Yeah.
Um, so we sing, "Let me call you sweetheart." And they remember that singing with their mother or father. So it's taking them back to that special place. Or when we start doing, I do a lot of 50s and 60s rock and roll. So, you know, when we go 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock rock, it's like immediately I see eyes light up and they're back in the gym Saturday night, kicking off the shoes, having a sock hop. We talk about things like this too. And it just immediately has this music has this power to connect with memories that's amazing. It also has the power to connect other people, though. It connects us to each other. We're having a group experience, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
You know, and two, especially with cognitive issues like dementia, that part of the brain that affects, you know, that short-term memory isn't affected in the part of the brain that stores our memory of music. You know,
Right.
we this has been several years ago, but I mean, we do this all the time. We go into these facilities and we put on a 50s or a 60s concert or a New Year's Eve concert, and I'm just fortunate that my uncle, he was a professional musician for many years, and he does it out of enjoyment, and he loves seeing people, you know, get excited and just, you know, bring some joy and some songs and smiles into their life. And we were at a place, and this wasn't my uncle. This was a dear friend of mine who was actually is in the Hall of Fame as an accordion player. And that's not something that people often request. And they knew, and this was in our local community, they knew that we would do these events. And it was at an adult daycare where this woman's mother went. And we came in and did a little, you know, music and things. And she had reached out about a year later and said, you know, my mom's no longer able to go to the adult day, but we were there one time, and my mom was an avid accordion lover. She loved the accordion. And do you know anybody? And I just happened to have a very good friend who is a very accomplished accordion player. She said she's at a little small adult foster home. There's her and 6 other ladies. And, you know, we're willing to pay you. And we said, well, we don't, it's more of a ministry. We don't take any donations or money. You know, we just do it, you know, just kind of giving back. And so we went there, Eric, and there was a lady there who had suffered a traumatic stroke. Not this woman's mother, but one of the other women in this home. And he started playing, I forget what, it's some old Italian polka song
Mhm.
or whatever you want to call it. And this woman actually started moving her foot up and down, and everybody in that home was just flabbergasted. They said she has not moved since she's been here.
Yeah.
And just by him playing that song, you could see, her eyes changed, her foot was moving. It was just really powerful. So exactly, it just people light up and it just reinvigorates them really.
It's amazing. And I love when family members attend the shows. I get more and more family members to make a point to attend shows. The communities tell them about it. And of course, I'm singing also for the staff, all the wonderkers uh, that I see family members get phones out and they want to take pictures and videos of their family member to show the rest of the family because yeah, it's something they haven't seen before. I just sang for a 90th birthday party and the family was mostly from out of town and I started, and this lady, sweet lady, she's bedridden. They wheel her bed out, and with the group, and they said she probably sleep through it. But I knew this lady because I sing for her every month, and I knew how much she loved music. So, but the family, when this lady took my hand and we sang, "The bells are ringing for me and my gal," and the family members were like getting their phones out and they're like saying, "Do that again, do that again." Of course, they were totally amazed when a few minutes later we were singing Cool in the Gang. We were singing Celebrate Good Times, come on. So it's just it's so wonderful and see that connection. I talk about connections. That connection alone, I know the family members, they're taking those videos, they're going to show them, they're going to send that to the cousins and the grandkids. They're going to share that to the family. And so that's a moment of joy that's going to spread.
Memory, many, many years later, it will be a wonderful memory that they can also revisit as well.
Yes.
That's
Yes. I like what you said about the accordion player and he's playing some old Italian song or something. I do such a variety of music because you never know what song is going to be the song that clicks for that person. I've been adding more and more foreign language music, some Italian and German and Spanish because some people that's the language that they grew up with and if you can find that special song to just take them back. And if nothing else, sometimes the music, it's I know for an hour we're having fun, we're singing, we're at peace. I see that all the time too. I see some situations I come into where everyone's agitated, that sometimes literally people are fighting with each other. And I've had sometimes people, when I come in, they say, "Oh, yeah, you're here. Get the music started right away." You know, because it typically changes the mood. And because because with dementia there's so much confusion and people asking so many questions, so if for an hour we can sing, and when I sing I put the words up in front, I do everything possible to make it as comfortable and familiar experience as possible. So you sing familiar songs, I put them in easily singable keys and put the words up, so just to make them comfortable so that for an hour they're not worrying about where am I, who am I, what am I doing. They're not thinking questions. They're experiencing joyful memories.
Who's the number one requested or most popular artist right now? I'm going to say
Oh,
Sinatra.
Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra.
yeah.
Yeah. Doris Day, quite a bit. And I do, everything from I do some Beatles and Neil Diamond and John Denver too, but number one requested, it's probably Elvis, barely over over Frank Sinatra.
Now you've performed at over, is it over 800 care homes?
Yeah, it's over 900 now.
900.
And
Okay.
I realized I'm not the only one singing now, which is amazing. We have other sing-along leaders. We've learned to replicate this. I have one of our volunteers, Carl. He's a wonderful man. He's 88 years old,
Wow.
and he lost his wife to Alzheimer's several years ago. He's been singing in church choirs his whole life, and he contacted us and said, "I want to do something else other than just play golf in my retirement." And he is now doing 9 shows a month.
Wow.
Uh,
Good for him.
Good for, yeah. So together we've done, over more than 1,000 shows, and we just got our first sing-along leader. Did his first show this month in Seattle.
Wow. Okay.
So that's
Are you,
exciting.
are you national now?
We're hoping to be someday. So we took and Carl helped us figure out. We had to figure out logistically how to do this. When someone's a volunteer sing-along leader with us, now that gives them, we give them T-shirts, we give them promotional materials. They get access to our library. When I say I put the words up, and I created they're just one of our T-shirts. I wear the T-shirts all the time. Now, when uh, we had to figure out just how to get the music to people, because we create these videos. We do custom recordings for a lot of them. We'll even commission recordings because we have to get it right. And sometimes we'll test it and tweak it. And after I've tested it, got it figured out, then I can share it with the other sing-along leaders. And so we use uh, some odd things and technology. It's wonderful. So I can give videos to someone in Seattle, and we have a lady who's starting in Chicago now. So we're not national yet, but
You're getting,
we're headed in that direction.
oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
we're trying to, like you mentioned, your friend was a professional musician. I love that. We encourage music. Uh, we encourage people to, just turn on some music, if nothing else. But obviously, if someone can play an instrument, play a guitar, take your guitar in and play with some people, or an accordion. Wonderful. We have a wonderful accordion player down here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Mike, the accordion player, is his stage name. I can't even remember his last name, but he's wonderful. But uh, but we're trying to empower the singers, someone who's willing to sing and has the heart to serve, but they can't play an instrument. They don't know how to go about it. We're enabling those people. We want to find more and more of those people and give them the tools so they can go out and lead sing-alongs.
Well, and I think we have a mutual friend, Alexis Baker, Bridgetown Music
Yeah.
Therapy. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
when we first met, and it's been several years ago now, I asked her, and I like what you said, Eric, some people just put on the music. Some music's better than no music. But
Yes.
the way you're doing it and the way people like Alexis are doing it, explain why that is more therapeutic, if you will, than just going on YouTube and, finding a song. Like, what is the difference?
It's all about layers of connection.
Yeah.
It's human connection. And I put public domain songs on YouTube too, and I'm glad we're having a lot of people watch those. Even those videos, we put the words up and we put my face up. So it's a little more than just playing the music. But of course, when you're in person, uh, you can really share that smile. Okay, you can connect with that person. You can make eye contact. You can reach out and see if someone would like to hold your hand. You can dance with people. And of course, it's just that there are other people in the room. I see that all the time. Some people, I've had some people tell me after a show, someone who sat there the entire time and did not move their mouth. Okay, and staring, look like a blank stare. Okay, but I'll approach them afterwards. I had one lady, uh, didn't move a muscle during the entire show. But after the show, she said, I sang I sang every song except one. I think that's pretty good. And I realized she's not singing outwardly, but she's singing inwardly. She's knows that she's part of a group that is singing.
Mhm.
And so that also gives a feeling of well-being. I was a little hesitant at first about doing dance music because so many of the people I sing for can't physically dance. But I've realized that's not what it is about. It's about dancing on the inside, first and foremost. And we all dance on the inside. And I might make jokes. I say, yeah, in my imagination, I dance like Fred Astaire. And but we dance on the inside. But occasionally someone can still move. I have one lady I sing for regularly, and she was a former dance instructor, and I just can't keep up with her. Any dance song comes, she wants to get up there and dance, and she's fantastic. And I can't dance like that. But when someone does get up to dance like that, whether it's another resident or even someone from the kitchen or the maintenance staff comes in and dances for a while, the rest of the room experiences that too. They love seeing that person dance, and they love. And sometimes we dance just by holding a hand and going side to side, and so there are all those layers of connection. Um, and well, like I mentioned before, when family members are there too, it's creating a connection that's going to bring lasting memories.
A wonderful engagement. Absolutely. You know, the music is super important, but it's more than just music. You've also
Yeah.
created a dementia friendly magazine. What does that mean? What is a dementia friendly magazine, and what makes the magazine so different? I know I have several copies here. I'll just hold up this one with a
Yeah.
nice little dog on the front, but
That's our
you know,
bestseller.
that's the bestseller. Okay.
The dogs.
But I love it because, I mean, there's
Yeah.
poetry in here, there's paintings, there's cultural issues. I mean, it's just a really, really nice magazine, very vibrant colors. There's big print, and also places like in the back where it says share your story. You can, my family dog, you can put the dog there. And then I like, this was a fun page because I only know a few breeds of dogs, and there's so many, but
Yeah.
like, you know, you laid out all these different breeds. What makes this magazine so special, and what makes it dementia friendly?
Um, Part of what's in it is important. Part of what makes it special is what's not in it.
Okay.
Number one, there are no ads in it. There are no small type. There's no websites. There's no current events. Nothing to confuse
Right.
a person. So the whole reason we did the magazine, well, we did the magazine for the same reason we did the music, to connect with people, to help people living with dementia, first of all, connect with their own memories and emotions, but also to connect with other people and to connect with their families. That's why there's share your story. There's things that they can share among generations. It's a magazine for for the adults, but it's a magazine that they can share with young children. Uh, we we created a magazine. Well, part of it goes back to my caregiving journey with Trish, and she loved to read magazines. As a matter of fact, kind of a sad, bittersweet story. By the time we had figured out how much the disease had progressed and realized what that we had to take control of her finances, she had subscribed to about 40 different magazines.
Wow. You know, you mentioned it already, but I think one of the big things, you know, because I've seen this with countless families, Eric, with the families that we help, the grandchildren sometimes are scared to go by grandpa or grandma or whatever the
Yes.
situation may be, because how do you explain to a young child what's dementia? And sometimes the
Right.
parent doesn't know how to answer that, you know, properly, or, you know, whatever the situation may be. But like this magazine, I think it helps them find a commonality, kind of like you said with the music, where a person
Yes.
knows they're in a room with everyone singing, so they feel comfortable and they're going along with the program, so to speak. But like with these magazines, like I could see even like with my children, they would look at this cover and they'd be drawn to it because there's a nice little kitten
Yes.
on the front, and it would give them something to bond and relate to with their grandparent or whoever the loved one happens to be. So it gives them an activity, an engagement, and something to,
Yes.
a common bond for them to work on. Was that the premise behind it, or was it
Yeah,
more?
exactly. It's a resource to build connections. That's the same way we have our music on YouTube, thinking, well, you can come in and pull it up on your phone and sing it with your loved one. Okay, the magazine is a wonderful tool for families, including children, but also older adults to come in and share because it's hard to talk with some, it's hard to know what to talk about sometimes. And so it's a tool. We address that through various articles on our website, but this is a resource. We realize I mentioned before, I feel like God prepared us for this in many ways. I worked in the magazine industry for 25 years.
Right.
So when we decided this was necessary resource that was missing, this exact type of resource, I was able to call on former coworkers, some editors and designers, and we planned for. We spent a couple of years in the planning process. We looked at popular magazines from the 50s and 60s like Life and Look and Good Housekeeping for inspiration. But we also wanted it to have a modern aesthetic because so it could appeal to the whole family. So the children would enjoy reading it too. And that's when it's wonderful. When we get the notes from people and say, my 8-year-old granddaughter loves reading it with my mom. That just warms our hearts because that's what we were intending from the beginning.
How many states would you say the magazine has reached so far?
Uh, I'd 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 have to double check, but almost all of them. We've
Wow.
sent magazines almost everywhere. Now, of course, we've had 3 different grants to help us distribute free copies in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So we've distributed actually thousands in this area. The rest have gone around the country, mostly people buying them through our website. I'm so excited. We just had our third public library, uh, buy magazines. So they're 3 pretty small towns out in America. This new one was in Pennsylvania, and there's one in New Jersey. I can't remember exactly where the libraries are, uh, but so that they're realizing, that they're giving this to their patrons to
Right.
this opportunity.
What's been the most surprising feedback you've received from the magazine? I know you mentioned the 8-year-old with her grandmother. Is there
Yeah.
one or two, or maybe there's a few pieces of feedback or emails or comments that
Yeah.
you've
And
gotten
it wasn't,
I'm glad to say that it wasn't completely surprising because we planned it for so long, and we did a lot of feedback with local activities directors and things. But still surprising. Like we get a note from someone who says, "My mom's pretty far along in the journey. I didn't think she could read,
Oh, okay.
but she loved your magazine." And the other thing that surprised us a little because we were thinking primarily about the person living with dementia.
Yeah.
One thing we underestimated is how valuable it was for the caregivers that were under stress themselves. So we got some feedback that from a caregiver caring for his wife who said, I love to read, but I'm so stressed these days. I can't get through a book. I can't stick with it, but I can read your magazine." And his his wife had Lewy body dementia and was uh, he could read it to her when she could no longer read, and it was comforting to him. It was interesting to him, but also a way for them to connect, and a way for her to be able to hear his voice,
Yeah.
which is comforting, and by giving him something that was not overwhelming to him in his situation, that he could still enjoy reading. So uh, we found out that it's enjoyed by a lot of people, more than we thought. We found out my grandma, who lived to be more than 100, she loved reading it. She didn't have dementia, but she just enjoyed reading it so much.
That's wonderful. What where do you want people to go? And we're going to have all that in the show notes, but I want to get it up on the screen here for the viewers. And if you could say it out for the listeners, where would you like people to go to either learn more about the magazine or to subscribe to the magazine?
Yeah. You can get it all through songsandsmiles.com. That's spelled out, songsandsmiles.com. We do have a Shopify shop specifically for the magazine. That's joyfulmemories.shop.
Joyful memory. Okay, perfect. Now, I like asking guests this because it makes them think, and sometimes we get a really great answer. Sometimes they don't know the answer, and that's okay too. But if we were to talk, and we're going to keep in close contact, Eric, we're working on some other things here, but if we didn't speak together and we ran into each other 5 years, 10 years from now, and I said, "Eric, it's great to see you. What's going on with Songs and Smiles?" What is going on with Songs and Smiles? What do you see ahead, or do you have any big things planned for Songs and Smiles?
Uh, Sheryl and I have said from the beginning that we don't know where this is going to go, but we're going to be faithful day to day. Okay, we're going to do what we can today. We're going to move it forward today. We're going to be faithful, and we're going to see God's in charge of that. And so in a way, okay, it's true. We don't think of the future that much. On the other hand, of course, we have some hopes and dreams,
Yeah.
and some of the directions that we're heading. Some of the things I've mentioned, you can tell I do hope that we have a good network of sing-along leaders, because music is so important. I'd love to, like I mentioned, we have sing-along leaders in Dallas, Seattle, and Chicago now, but where I'd really like to get them is in the small communities that don't have, like in Dallas, Fort Worth, you can find entertainers that you can hire to bring into a care home or hire for your 100th birthday party. If you're in a small town in Iowa, maybe not. Uh, but we'd like to equip those people, those singers, those people with a heart. And I'd say that singing is helpful. The first thing those sing-along leaders need to do is be able to smile and have a heart to share and connect people. Then if they can sing, that helps too. But so I hope that 5, 10 years from now that I could say we have sing-along leaders in all 50 states, and that the magazine is in libraries,
Yeah.
all over the place. And I hope the magazine, the reason people aren't, the reason no one had done a magazine exactly like this is because it's not a moneymaker, right? It has to be. It's our donors, contribute, and we make the magazine and we sell it as cheaply as we can to try and build some more. But but anyway, we have our editorial team. We've mapped out the next 42 issues.
Wow.
So I hope, if we ran into each other 10 years from now, that all those issues would have been created and printed.
Is it a monthly magazine or is it quarterly or?
No, it's
Well, it depends. It depends on our donations. We're trying to do 4 a year, and we are blessed to be able to do four this year. So far we've just done the sixth. I just did the sixth issue, which is the Cars magazine, and right now I'm working on the Toys issue, and the next will be, and we're going to do a separate games issue. I think pretty soon we'll be doing a national parks issue, and maybe an entire Christmas themed issue. But like I said, we actually have a list of 42 other issues that, as soon as we get the money, money and the time, we'll put those together.
Eric, a couple quick questions. Somebody who might be listening or watching this and they're interested in being a song leader, how would you like them to contact you? And what's kind of a prerequisite for people that may be interested?
We actually put some articles on our website, songsandsmiles.com, about, are you interested, and kind of run through the whole process. But like I said, the number one requisite is the willingness and a good smile, and then if they can sing too, but then
that disqualifies me.
Oh, well, singing helps.
Right.
But your smile and your willingness, and we kind of give the tools, but the singing helps. So then we've said, if someone is willing, if they want to do one show a month, we will sign them up as a volunteer. So there's ways to get to it through our website, but I would encourage someone to just email me directly. My direct email is Eric, E-R-I-C, Eric at songsandsmiles.com.
How about anyone that's interested in making a donation or a contribution? How would you like them to do that?
We love those. It's on our website as well. I guess you can donate through Facebook or Instagram too, but the donations, songsandsmiles.com, we have a nice big donate button up in the upper right-hand corner.
Wonderful. Well, Eric Kolb, co-founder of Songs and Smiles, it's always a pleasure to talk with you, my friend. And
Great talking with you, Lance.
Always. And I just want to encourage our viewers and listeners to go check out Songs for Smiles, visit the website, order the magazine, because the magazine is really phenomenal. And I see it firsthand, and our staff here see it firsthand. The engagement value is priceless for our loved ones that are living with dementia. They still have their integrity. They're still a person. And like you said about the woman who was surprised that her mother could still read, they're still capable of doing so very much, but they have to be given the opportunity to do it, right? And I think that's where the songs and the smiles and the magazine come into play. That engagement and that stimulation is so vital to helping them to remain engaged.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate your kindness and your support, Lance.
Absolutely. Our pleasure, Eric. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Songs and Smiles is a nonprofit organization that we founded to help families stay connected during the Alzheimer's journey. My mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2008. My grandma also had Alzheimer's. We just know how hard it is during the Alzheimer's journey to keep families connected, and we're just trying to really support the caregivers and the families and just help them find moments of joy.
You're extremely unique in that your whole show is geared up for those with dementia, Alzheimer's, but yet it doesn't exclude those who don't have it. I enjoy your shows as well as a memory care person would enjoy your shows. You're the only one that's just providing joy for them. You know, people always think about you need to provide care, you need to provide nourishment, you need to, and that, but you're providing joy. When you're singing, I look at their faces, and a face that might haven't smiled all week long, I'll see them smiling, I'll see them mouthing to the words, they'll be tapping their toes and clapping their hands, and that's good for us to see them smiling.
Our mission statement, in fact, is keeping families connected during the Alzheimer's journey. So that's why we started with music, because music connects people, not only connects people with their own memories and emotions, but it connects families and friends together because they can sing together.
Your format is so good. It just makes me sick. You did, I don't know how many songs, probably 25 or more songs. And I sang every word of every song.
You just don't know how much it means. You hear the songs sung, it's touching.
The magazine that we do, the same thing. It helps an individual connect with memories. It's also designed so families can read it together, connects people.
And so we can talk about the magazine over and over, and they can read it over and over and laugh and have fun.
I think what I really love about the magazine is that a lot of times in memory care, families have a hard time talking to them and relating to them. And I've seen just this magazine is so great because it gives an avenue, a bridge for conversation and to bring up memories. And it just makes the whole visit easier. And it's precious. It really is.
Alzheimer's destroys connections, starts with destroying a connection between a person and their own memories. But then it often destroys connections between people. We've seen families drift apart, and so we're trying to keep families connected. That's why we started with music. It's a powerful connector. And of course it connects people with their own memories, connects people with emotion. I just see the joy of people singing in general. Some people just love to sing.
Just the music, it brings a short bit of clarity for a little while, for a whole lot of them. They will not know they can't recognize their daughter, but they can sing every word to Amazing Grace. So, and that music brings that few moments of clarity for them. That's so wonderful to see.
When I first heard Eric, I knew I had to have him here as much as I could because there's a connection. And that's hard to find. That's hard to find anywhere you go. But when you see it and feel it, you know it. And I was like, how often can you come? Because we need more than once a month. It puts a smile on their face because he touches their heart.
Did you enjoy the music?
Yes, it was wonderful. I knew all the words all the time.
I just sing the gospel of our lungs, you know, and I have a good time, and I think it's fun. And as long as there's other people that actually can sing, I'll be right in there with them.
We have all of these great ideas, and everybody, is always saying, have you thought of this? And we're like, yes, we have. Have you thought of this? And we're like, yes, we have. And they kind of look at us and we're like, it's just the two of us. We feel like, we have a really good group of volunteers, a core group that's ready to do something. We just need more money and just more support to make that happen. We hope to partner with corporations that are looking for volunteer opportunities for their employees that have a heart for working with people living with dementia. We really see Songs and Smiles continuing to be a resource for caregivers, for families. You find yourself in this situation that you've never been in, and how do we really care for ourselves, for our loved one living with dementia? We just want to come alongside and walk that journey with you. It gives you hope that, hey, other people have done this, just a place to reach out and to know that you're not going through the journey alone.
Thank you for joining us today here at All Home Care Matters. All Home Care Matters is here to help families as they navigate these long-term care issues. We invite you to visit us at allhomecarematters.com, where there's a private, secure, fillable form where you can give us feedback, show ideas, or if you have questions. Every form is read and responded to. And remember, you can listen to the show on any of your favorite podcast streaming platforms, or you can watch the show on our official YouTube channel. Just make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. I'd also like to say thank you again to Eric Kolb for joining us today from Songs and Smiles and the publishers of Joyful Memories Magazine. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next time here at All Home Care Matters.
Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to you joining us again on another episode of All Home Care Matters. To learn more about the show and to connect with us, visit us at allhomecarematters.com.